Hello and welcome to D2R. In this video series, we are discussing nervous system disorder, and topic that we are going to discuss today is Guillain-Barré syndrome. Guillain-Barré syndrome. So Guillain-Barré syndrome is a autoimmune disorder which results into demyelination of peripheral nerves. So as we have written here, it is an autoimmune disease which causes demyelination of peripheral nerves. And very important point, Guillain-Barré syndrome is a most common cause of flaccid paralysis. Most common cause of flaccid paralysis. It affects peripheral nervous system and result in loss of myelin, and symptoms are edema and inflammation of peripheral nerves, or you can say affected nerves. So it affects peripheral nervous system, results in loss of myelin, and edema and inflammation are the symptoms of affected nerves. So as we can see here, causes are unknown. So it is autoimmune disease and it is most commonly in male than female. So far we have studied that the Guillain-Barré syndrome is an autoimmune disease which causes demyelination of peripheral nerves, and Guillain-Barré syndrome is a most common cause of flaccid paralysis. It affects peripheral nervous system and result in loss of myelin, and symptoms are edema and inflammation of the affected nerves. Edema and inflammation of the affected nerve. As we discussed, causes are unknown. Causes are unknown of Guillain-Barré syndrome, common in male than females. Young adults are most commonly affected. Most common in male than females, and young adults are most commonly affected. Next up, we are going to look at the etiology of Guillain-Barré syndrome. So it is an autoimmune disease, as we discussed earlier, but there is a Campylobacter jejuni that is most recognized organism associated. Campylobacter jejuni, most recognized organism associated. Other microorganisms are Mycoplasma pneumoniae, cytomegalovirus (CMV), Epstein-Barr virus. Epstein-Barr virus. So there are 4 organisms, but most commonly is Campylobacter jejuni. Next up, clinical manifestation of Guillain-Barré syndrome develops usually 1 to 3 weeks after upper GI and respiratory infection. Pain is most common. Pain is most common symptom. Number 2 is ascending weakness, that is paralysis, ascending paralysis. Number 3 is hypotonia, loss of muscle tone. Number 4 is respiratory paralysis. C4 nerve is affected when there is respiratory paralysis. Keep in mind that respiratory paralysis is most severe symptoms. Areflexia and diaphoresis. Diaphoresis means excessive sweating without any reason. Excessive sweating without any reason. So etiology is autoimmune disease, Campylobacter, most recognized organism associated, Mycoplasma pneumoniae, cytomegalovirus, Epstein-Barr virus. Clinical manifestation usually develops after 1 to 3 weeks after the upper GI and respiratory infection. Pain is most common. Ascending paralysis, hypotonia, loss of muscle tone, respiratory paralysis, respiratory paralysis. Number 5 is paresthesia. Paresthesia. Number 6 is areflexia. Number 7 is diaphoresis. Next up, we are going to look at the diagnosis of Guillain-Barré syndrome. So diagnosis is based on history and clinical science. Diagnosis is based on history and clinical science. CSF is normal, low protein initially, but after 7 to 8 days, increase 700 mg per dl. CSF is normal, low protein initially, but after 7 to 8 days, it will increase to 700 mg per dl. Management. Next up, we are going to look at the management of Guillain-Barré syndrome aimed at supportive care. That is very important. Aimed at supportive care. Number 1 is ventilatory support during acute phase. Number 2 is plasmapheresis is used in the first 2 weeks. Plasmapheresis is used in the first 2 weeks. Nursing management, physical therapy restore muscle strength and function. Physical therapy restores muscle strength and function. And nursing management includes patient who developed facial paralysis must receive meticulous eye care to avoid corneal irritation. Meticulous eye care to avoid corneal irritation and damage. Diagnoses are based on history and clinical science. CSF is normal. Low protein initially, after 7 to 8 days increase 700 mg per dl. Next up, management aimed at supportive care. Ventilatory support should be given during acute phase. Plasmapheresis is used in the first 2 weeks. Then nursing management. Patient who develops facial paralysis must receive meticulous eye care to avoid corneal irritation and damage. And then physical therapy, restore muscle tone and function, muscle strength and function. There are some important points in the nursing management. Eye shield can be used at night to retain moisture. Eye shield can be used at night to retain moisture. Mild dysphagia can be managed by placing the patient in an upright position. Mild dysphagia can be managed by placing the patient in an upright position and flexing the head forward during feeding. And severe dysphagia can be managed by tube feeding. So thank you for watching, guys, and if you like my handwritten notes and my teaching method, please subscribe to my YouTube channel Dreams to Reality, where your dreams become reality. Keep working hard, believe in yourself, and your dreams will definitely come true.